It's a terrible football show. All right. It's a terrible football show. All right.
I want whatever you guys are smoking right now.
Come on, Shane. OH. OH.
Oh, baby,
go.
yeah! Shane, I swear to God.
Welcome to a terrible football show.
That's my quarterback and my teammate, man.
Ruins my fucking holiday every damn year.
Alex,
What up?
you could thoroughly kiss my ass.
Why not let us decide the top four?
Yeah, let a terrible football show
Let a terrible
decide the top
football
four.
show.
Fuck you, Shane.
Roll Tide. Have a good one, guys.
Oh,
Happy New Year.
fuck off. Oh, yeah, he's got to go. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
You know, I like that Baker Mayfield and myself, man. He was baking up there in the Browns, and it just turned into a big old shit pile. So,
Get that right. I will fly you out and take you to a game in Dallas of your fucking choice.
Oh, shit. Yeah, he's successful at just giving his terrible opinions, so why can't I? It's a terrible football show after all. Welcome to Terra Football Show, episode James Harrison, episode 92. Hopefully you are having a phenomenal day today, whatever day you're watching. You're watching live alongside of us, watching after the fact, or listening after the fact. No matter what, we appreciate the absolute hell out of you. Got me and Ricky here on the show today. Ricky, of course, a diehard, debatable now, Dallas Cowboy fan. Heartbreak this weekend. We're going to dive into that later. Ricky, besides the heartbreak, how you doing today? How are you? Hopefully you're great.
Well, besides the heartbreak, yeah, I guess I'm not too bad. You know, the storm of the century has hit, and you know, people getting the groceries, thinking it's the end of the freaking world.
Storm of the century, yeah. I saw a meteorologist make a joke where it's just like, this is like the longest lasting 3 inches I've ever seen. I'm just like, dude, I feel that.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's also because we haven't got above freezing. Now we got above freezing a little bit
Yeah.
today, but it wasn't long enough to melt it. But I also, if you watched Monday Night Raw, of course, Monday Night Raw was in Little Rock.
Yeah, I saw.
Had tickets, got the refund because we couldn't
Yep.
go. But anyways, of course, there were still quite a bit of people who made it there, right? Which I was kind of surprised that that people from Arkansas would attend that. But if you listen at the very beginning of it, because we're in Little Rock, Arkansas, this weather they're not used to.
I mean, that is totally accurate. It's not. It's not really that big of a deal, but I mean, it's just, dude, it's just so damn cold. But anyway, no, there's a lot to talk about in the football world. Bill Belichick and the Patriots part ways. That took place after we did our show last week. And it's funny because last week, like you and I even said, it's just like, man, it's a good thing that we did the show on Wednesday because then we got to cover all this other cool stuff. And then that happened. So it's just like, okay, whatever. So possible landing spots for him. Jim Harbaugh's already had 2 interviews. Where is he going to land? There's a lot of conversation. Then, of course, the playoffs. The Detroit Lions winning a playoff game for the first time in 32 freaking years over their former franchise quarterback. Your Dallas Cowboys. The Eagles getting absolutely destroyed. There is a lot to talk about. Plus, of course, looking forward to the divisional round of the playoffs. But first and foremost, if you could, use the referral link down below. Check out some Rogue Energy promo code SPARK3 to get 10% off. We'd appreciate that support, as well as the support if you would pick up a jersey from Agent Inc. because we have an awesome set of jerseys, including the ATFS one, which features a trash can, which I forgot to grab. This is already what I was wearing, and I forgot to grab my jersey. It is what it is. It's not as cool as the Gardner Minshew jersey. No, it's actually cooler. It's got a trash can that I hand drew in about 5 seconds. Who wouldn't want that? And, of course, join the Discord. You can come chat with us. All right, turn down the music. We've reached the end of the track, so good job on that front. But what a weekend of football. Not as exciting as we were anticipating. The Browns got manhandled. Cowboys got manhandled. The Dolphins got manhandled. The Eagles got manhandled. I mean, like the Steelers were the Steelers. You could say they got manhandled. I mean, we knew they were going to lose. I mean, really, you look at all these games and like going into the weekend, you thought that you kind of already knew Buffalo, Pittsburgh would kind of be a shit show. All right, we already kind of knew that one. We knew that, the Tampa Bay Philly one was really up in the air. I called Tampa to win. Kudos to that one. But that one wasn't up in the air. Would Philly bounce back? Would Tampa just kind of get stuff done? But every other game looked good on paper. And oh, buddy, did it not look good on the field. Man, it was a weekend of football. Let's go ahead and dive into it. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it. You want to go ahead and just kick things off with your Dallas Cowboys and how you're feeling. Is it the end for Mike McCarthy? Is it the end for Dak Prescott? Did you even see this coming? I mean, how are we feeling in Cowboys Nation right now?
So, every year there's Dallas Cowboy fans all over the place who want to open their mouth a little too early. At the very beginning of the season, I said it plain as day. Shut up about it. Don't say a word because this is what's going to happen. And it did. I also said at the very beginning of the year, this was a put up or shut up year for Dak Prescott. Now, I do not pinpoint. I know he threw 2 picks. I believe one of them was a pick 6, if I'm not mistaken. I do not put this particular loss on Dak Prescott. The defense, who, for the most part, has played all right, they didn't even show up. And it's absolutely disgusting to me because there is nothing on paper, pen or paper, that you can write that could have told me anything different other than the Cowboys should have won this game. You have a Dallas Cowboys team, for the most part, is led by quite a bit of veterans on their team.
Yep.
Packers are basically an experienced team, or not an experienced team. They're one of those experimental teams. What can we do with this group? We made Matt LaFleur look like the best coach in football. We made Jordan Love look like the best quarterback in football. And yes, shout out to Jordan Love. He's gotten hot, especially toward the end of the year. because we there were so many inconsistencies with the Green Bay Packers. I'm like, there's no way they're gonna make the playoffs. Now, I will say this much: a healthy Kirk Cousins, Minnesota would have made the playoffs. Green Bay would have went home. But let's that's another story for a different day. Shout out to the Green Bay Packers. Shout out to Jordan Love. They played a terrific game. They hit Dallas where it hurt the most. Dallas could not figure them out for the life of themselves. It was absolutely atrocious to watch. And I turned it off when it was 48-16. I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. I can't do this no more. I can't do it no more, man. I'm so sick and tired of it. But to answer your question, yes, this Mike McCarthy. I love Mike McCarthy. I thought Mike McCarthy did a great job considering what he's had. Alex, it's time to end the Dak Prescott era. It's time for him to go. We don't need to sign him to this buku deal of money. When we sign him to this huge deal of money, we went away from our identity, which was mostly the run game. We don't have an established down back. I love Tony Pollard to death, but you and I both know he's not a dominant down back.
True.
We got rid of Zeke Elliott to experience this, which I was all for not keeping Zeke Elliott, and I will always stand by that. What I wasn't for was during the draft, we should have gotten Bijan Robinson, which, shout out to Atlanta, they traded up and got him. We should have picked up Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs has done amazing things in Detroit this year as a rookie. I thought he could have done the same thing for us in Dallas. I thought he would have been a very good dominant down back and let Pollard come out of the backfield like he usually does. But we went away from the identity. We went with something totally different. A lot of people are like, well, we don't have enough weapons for Dak. We have plenty of weapons for Dak Prescott. The offense did not lose this particular game for us. It was our defense. And there's so many inconsistencies. We don't have time to go through them. But it's time to end the Dak Prescott era for sure. Not 100% sure if we should get rid of Mike McCarthy at this point, for the simple fact is that he's been able to keep us he's actually been able to keep us relevant, unlike Jason Garrett. Because Jason Garrett, I mean, we would be this relevant team, and then all of a sudden we would fall flat, and we wouldn't be anything anymore.
Well, let me ask you something about Mike McCarthy, because this is all something, a comment that we've got over on our Twitch chat from Joe here. Bill Belichick to Dallas makes sense.
Hell no. Hell
you don't want Bill Belichick.
No,
you don't want
Hell
the greatest coach in NFL history.
No.
Oh my God. I got to disagree with you on that one.
Absolutely not.
I would love Belichick up in Chicago, baby.
Hey, so me and
also
so I'm just gonna throw this out.
On the further part of his comment, though, he thinks Atlanta is going to be Belichick's landing spot just because it's going to be an easy 14 wins, essentially, with no pressure. That's true because that division is weak. So, but that's the follow-up to his comment. But anyway, continue.
So I did this because me and Brad recorded the other day, and I won't post it till Friday. But I put my hand on the Bible that if we got Bill Belichick, I'm done with the Dallas Cowboys until we get rid of him.
Wow.
Done. No, Alex, no. We cannot get Bill Belichick. I understand he's quote-unquote one of the greatest, if not the greatest, NFL head football coach in history. That's fine and dandy. But now he's old. We saw what he did. We saw what he did to New England. And don't get me wrong, he would have a little bit more as far as like draft pick goes and things like that. He wouldn't get any kind of power like that, which is fine. We don't need him to do draft picks. We just need him to coach. I don't want him. I don't want him in Dallas. I don't think he's a good fit. I think he needs to stay as far away from Dallas as possibly can. But yes, we get him. I'm done with the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
Completely done. Zip. Zero. Nada.
Listen.
Done.
I'm not a massive Bill Belichick fan or anything. I respect the hell out of him, but man, I'll take Bill Belichick any day of the week over Matt Eberflus. I love Belichick up in Chicago.
No. Well, he'd be that's the thing. He would fit better in Chicago. We're talking about Dallas. We're talking about two totally different markets here. No, absolutely not. You do not want Bill Belichick coaching this football team. I don't care who it is.
I hope you're ready because Bill Belichick's about to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I hope you're ready for it.
Where I will be done. I will be a secret behind-the-scenes fan, but I will not root for them. I will root for them to lose every single game. But no, and all kidding aside, though, all kidding aside, I just it's time to end. It's just time to end this era. I'm not blaming Dak because I thought Dak had a great season. In my opinion,
Career year.
he had a career year. He had an MVP type year. The only reason why he's not going to win the MVP was because I with the losses to Miami and Buffalo, I think that hurt him. Had he won those games, yes, you could have a very, very good argument that he'd be a regular season MVP. But I just think it's time to scrap it and go and start somewhere else with the quarterback. There's not there I don't know how many free agents we're going to have this year. I haven't dove down into that yet, but um this was it though. In my opinion, this was his best chance, and we blew it. We totally blew it.
Well, I mean, you guys will probably at least have him for this year, unless you guys do a trade. I know his cap hit for this year is going to be like 51 mil, I think, but then 2025 he'd be set to be a free agent. So I mean, I would say at the very least you guys have him this year. But if you guys are going to let him walk or try to trade him after the 2024 season, that's probably what I would think is going to happen personally. Maybe
Yeah,
try
I
to
don't.
look. Basically, I could see 2024 being like that one last shot for Dak and Mike McCarthy. Because it's one of those things like it's a wild thing to talk about when you have a coach that's keeping a team relevant, that's staying consistent at least. He's had 3 straight 12-5
Right.
years. Those are great records. But I understand it's 2 very different landscapes. We don't need to dive into that. We don't need to dissect about how different it is. But it's almost kind of similar to an extent of like the conversation around Ryan Day up at Ohio State, where it's like he'll win every game but one, but the one he's losing is the one you're not supposed to lose, And it's just like, even though you have a great winning record that over 75% of college football teams would die to have, it's still not enough. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing. Like, it's just that it's even though the Cowboys have been irrelevant in the Super Bowl conversation, I'm sorry, but they have for many years now,
Yeah.
right? They're still they still carry that championship pedigree. You know what I mean? And you got to respect it. So like that's where I think there is that conversation of like, okay, clearly he's not getting over the hump. Is this a point to try to move on from Mike? That's going to be the question. But, the sad part is, man, you hate it. And probably a lot of Cowboys fans hate it. But, man, I got to be honest, I would not be shocked if Bill Belichick became the Dallas Cowboys head coach. Do I think he will? No. I think he's going to more try to get, L.A. or Atlanta personally. L.A. seems to be more leaning towards Jim Harbaugh. We'll chat about that here soon. So Bill Belichick could end up being the Atlanta head coach. It could just be a great fit. You got a high draft pick still. Maybe try to get a quarterback, maybe try to make some moves. Great young running back, tight end, wide receiver, great young defense to kind of mess with, kind of try to develop and get a little bit better. But, I'm just saying, man, it would not shock me if Bill Belichick became the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
The biggest thing, Alex, and this is why Dallas for the most part stays relevant as far as championship aspirations and everything like that. They're by far the most valuable team in the NFL. When it comes to money, when it comes to saying, hey, this is how much they're worth, the Dallas Cowboys have more worth than any NFL team, and it's by over $1 billion. I know that. I don't know the exact amount, but it's quite a bit. Let me look that up real quick.
Joe also says Belichick will motivate the defense wherever he goes, but he needs a proven quarterback, which Chicago and Atlanta do not have. That'd be correct. That's why I would like to
agree.
I would like to believe that Bill Belichick and probably every head coaching candidate wants to go to LA. Let's be real. You're going to have nice weather. You got a franchise quarterback already under contract. You have a phenomenal defense. You got to figure out the running back situation, if you could manage to keep Eckler in or not. Eckler, kind of wanted out, whatever. So figure that out. Maybe figure out some receiver stuff, because Quentin Johnson, as I very well predicted, was going to be a bust. Looks like it. Mike Williams is just okay. Keenan Allen's getting up in age. Got to figure some stuff out, but you still got a good team, right? Still got a great team. It looks like you're going to be in some cap hell coming up soon. But I think LA is everyone's preferred destination. You know what I mean? But I think it's more of a thing of, who does LA want? Do they want Jim? Do they want Bill? I mean, I feel like if Jim and Bill Belichick want the LA job, in my opinion, LA can do whatever they want. Like, that's my opinion. Like, all the cards is in their hand. They are the hottest destination spot in my mind.
Well, whoever gets Bill Belichick, you got to think though, that's probably going to be more of a rental than it is a long-term agreement. I don't see him coaching until he's 80.
True.
I mean, he might have 2 or 3 good seasons left in him. He doesn't have long.
Yeah, no, I agree to that. So that's why, like, even if he takes the Atlanta job, it's just like it's hard to see him doing anything for the team. They're not going to turn around and win a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, it's
No,
just not going to
no.
happen.
They can make the playoffs.
They
The
can
division's
definitely
not
make.
hard at all.
Yeah, I mean, we had the Bucks making it at 9-8. You know what I mean? Like, you can win the division. Yeah, good job to that, I guess. But you're going to go beyond that. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see who's gonna the LA job. That's the one that we're waiting to see who's gonna fill it. My prediction, it's gonna be Jim Harbaugh. That's who I think it's gonna be, and I'm already upset that he's doing the interviews, and we're still rocking with Matt Eberflus because it's one of those things. Like,
Well,
I still see the value of keeping Matt to a point. I do, but it's just like of all the years, of all the times to keep Matt Eberflus. You keep them in a period where there is an unbelievable amount of great head coach candidates out there. You know what I mean? Like Jim Harbaugh, Mike Vrabel, Bill Belichick, like a Ben Johnson. I mean, like, there's so many great. Oh, God. We're not going to dive into
right.
that today.
But one thing about Jim Harbaugh, Alex, is something I've read up is that he's also you got to think he's still talking about contract
Yeah, true.
extensions with Michigan as well.
True.
And so, of course, he's from my understanding, something I read up on is he's wanting to put in his contract full immunity if the NCAA comes down hard on Michigan, because the NCAA still has not ruled on Michigan. At the same hand, and I've said this before, I don't know why you would want to go back to Michigan. I understand you won a championship this year, but you have zero support from the Big Ten, other than your fellow people there at the University of Michigan. Why would you want that? Why would you want that toxic environment of a conference, especially especially now that they're about to expand however many freaking teams are going to be in the conference now? It's retarded.
27.
How many?
No, I'm lying. It's just a complete exaggeration. That's just what it feels like. It
27.
feels like they have 27 teams. You know what I mean?
You're right. When you're
I
right, you're
think
right.
I think it's actually 20. If I'm gonna be real, it's 18 or 20. I think.
Something like that. Yeah, it's quite a bit.
Yeah, and like Jacob once said, is like I could personally see them kicking out some teams too, like Rutgers and Maryland. I think could see them getting kicked out. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah,
they'll keep Rutgers because they gotta consider themselves an academic conference.
I mean,
It's
that's true.
It's the only reason Vanderbilt's still in the SEC. Shout out to Vanderbilt.
That is a fair point. That is a fair point. No, the Cowboys, man, it's one of those things too. Like it's Wednesday at the time we're doing this show. Haven't heard any news out of the Dallas Cowboys camp. So it's one of those things, like, if it's going to happen, I feel like it probably should have already happened. You know what I mean? Because, like, if you're Jerry Jones and you want to move on from Mike, like, you need to hit the iron right now and fire him and get your candidate, whether if it be in-house and get Dan Quinn before he goes to Seattle, potentially. Get Mike
I think he's
Vrabel.
gonna go Seattle.
Get an interview with Bill if Jerry wants Bill. Jerry, not you. Interview Jim if Jim's interested. Interview Ben Johnson before he's taken off the market. Like, you gotta. I feel like if you're gonna make a move, you should have already made it. Things are moving quickly. So the fact that it hasn't happened, I think 2024, I think it's going to be another, like, potentially, if you guys flop out the last year for Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott. We'll see, though.
And to be honest with you, Alec, it wouldn't upset me one bit if we kept Mike McCarthy and said, all right, one last time. Because, that's the thing. It's like, it's either this, in my opinion, you get rid of Mike McCarthy, what's next? Like, Dak has one more year left. We're gonna teach him a whole new system within less than a year for him to prep for next season. So it just, there's so much in the air. So in my opinion, this is it. This is your final chance. Dak Prescott, we're not extending your contract anymore. This is it. Win a Super Bowl for us, and then you can name your price.
Right. Joe also said,
yeah, I could say that. I could say that.
Joe also says Harbaugh is a great coach to build teams to win in ways, and then burns out. Never see him going to a team where they are close to winning a championship, which makes sense. Which LA makes sense. It's perfect for him.
I don't agree with about half of what he said, but yeah, it just I think a lot of his. I'll put it to you this way, guys. San Francisco was not 100% his fault. Like, I will vouch for that all day long. When you've got a guy like Colin Kaepernick especially back in the day where that situation was, how that situation ended. No, I put most of that on Colin Kaepernick than I do on Jim Harbaugh.
And I also know with the whole San Fran kind of falling apart thing, that was also because there was very clear discourse between Trent Baalke and Jim Harbaugh. That was one of those situations of a GM and a coach not being on the same page. But
and that means everything.
Yeah, but one thing that really reigns true, though, I personally agree with in terms of the comment is Jim Harbaugh is a great coach to build teams to winning ways. Maybe not building the team. Every team that he's got for the most part is kind of adopted, with the exception of Michigan. That's all his recruiting. Let's be real; he's been there long enough. But like you look at everywhere he's been a winner at every single stop. San Diego, Stanford, San Francisco, leading them to a Super Bowl. Michigan, he's been a winner everywhere that he's gone, and that's why he's such a hot commodity.
And Stanford hasn't been relevant since.
Yeah, big fact. I mean, and also Stanford, you could also credit his recruiting for when he was relevant after he left. Like, let's be honest on that. I mean, like the coach. I don't remember the coach's name, but he just stepped down like a year ago, didn't he? The beginning of this past year. David Shaw. Yeah, I mean, he just stepped down. Like he's been irrelevant for years. He was relevant for a few years, which you can credit to Harbaugh's recruiting, and then after that, nothing. So, Harbaugh
and Stanford is technically the Pac-12's academic school. So yeah.
And now they're the ACC, which is still so stupid. Cal and Stanford in the ACC, so stupid. God, I hate this realignment, bro. We are not playing NCAA 14 right now. Like, come on. Let's look at a map. So dumb. I mean, I get it, money. Money's involved. Conferences trying to stay relevant. It's dumb.
How's a conference gonna stay relevant with Stanford and Cal?
Academics. No,
point taken.
Listen. The more and more I continue to sit on it and stuff, and it still pops up in my TikTok feed or whatever, the more and more that I think Chip Kelly is just a literal genius when it comes to this whole realignment thing. Like he's so on point with it. Like, his whole take is like, why does everyone have to go? Why can't it just be football, go? I mean, he's just like, hey, Notre Dame is independent. They're part of the ACC in every other sport. Why can't we do that, but for everything? And I'm just like, that's a great idea. So all these schools that are wanting to leave their conferences, just let football leave and let every other sport that don't make as much money stay. I mean, I get the other thing, where they go. We've talked about this, going to the Big Ten will just bring more revenue, which can then help fund other programs. I get it, but I still think it's genius. Either way, that's a different conversation for a different day when another move happens that pisses us off later on. Still talking about the NFL, though. Let's hit some other games. Detroit Lions, baby, getting it done. Did you see the clip of Dan Campbell in the locker room?
I did not.
Yeah, where he was doing his final speeches and giving game balls and stuff, where he first gave the game ball to the GM and just the great partnership they've had, whatever. Gave a big long spill about it, and then his thing to Jared Goff was gold. It was short, sweet, as it needed to be, and to the point where he's like, this other game ball, it's like, I'll just leave it at this. Jared Goff, you're good enough for fucking Detroit. And then he gives him the game ball. Like, that's what I'm talking about, baby. That's Jared Goff is Detroit's quarterback. Let's go. Nah, I'm so happy for the Lions, man. I really am. Look, I'm decked out in Bear stuff. I got Bear stuff behind me. But, dude, you can't hate the Lions. If the Lions hate the Bears, whatever, dude, hate us. I don't give a shit. I've got nothing but respect for this team. These fans, they freaking deserve this, man. And they're going to get to host another playoff game. And honestly, I don't want to write off Tampa Bay, but let's be honest, a very winnable game for Detroit. I thought Detroit was going to be playing the Cowboys. That was going to be tough, but a very winnable game. Yeah, I mean, you look at paper, and Detroit is so much better than Tampa, man.
Right, and I'll agree with that. But something else. It wasn't long ago that Detroit was the Vanderbilt of the NFL. They would not make any kind of moves that made any sense whatsoever. Yes, they had Megatron there with Matt Stafford for the longest time. But for whatever reason, they never surrounded them with a good offensive line. They never surrounded them with a good defense. They really never had a puncher's chance of winning a division or winning a playoff game or any of that kind of stuff. And it kind of, in a lot of ways, it left a chip on Matthew Stafford's shoulder because for the longest time we were like, okay, Matthew Stafford's played for Detroit for so long. Can he go elsewhere and actually be relevant? And then the Rams make a move. They trade Jared Goff. They send Jared Goff to Detroit. Yes, in the short run at Stafford, that trade has already won. They already won that trade because Matt Stafford won a championship with LA. But at the same time, you also have to look at their situations. At Stafford, when he went to LA, was the same situation that Jared Goff was when he was in LA. They had talent that surrounded him, offensively and defensively on both ends of the ball, even with special teams. They had all kinds of talent surrounding him. Now that he's in Detroit, Detroit has finally put their money where their mouth is, and they said, all right, let's do this. Let's make some moves. Let's get some good draft picks. Let's develop. And what do? They still were able to go out and get good picks. They've been able to develop into a very, very good franchise. Now, will they win the division next year? I'm not so sure. But I called it at this time last year, before the playoffs began, baby. I said the Detroit Lions were going to win that division.
I was on the same page with you.
And you can't hate the Detroit. If anybody that says that you hate the Detroit Lions, you go crawl in a hole and just bury yourself there. Because that's like saying, "Oh, I hate Rutgers. I hate Vanderbilt. I hate Penn State.
I hate
Screw
Temple. Fuck Temple." Tyler, you're wild for that one, man. That ain't a rivalry, bro.
It's oh goodness, I needed that good laugh. But I mean, you have to root for them though. I mean, this is great. This is something we may never see again in our lifetime. I don't know. We haven't seen it in forever. But but how long has it been? 32 years.
32 years since they won a playoff game.
Yeah, I was 3. I was 3 years old, and that tells you.
I wasn't alive.
I mean the Cowboys have won a few playoff games since then, but I'm just but no, shout out to Detroit, man. And yes, Tampa Bay is a very winnable game. But boy, the butt whooping they put on Philly.
Hey, yo, Baker looked good, baby. Look,
Baker,
listen.
man.
Baker wins a playoff game against the former, NFC representative Philadelphia Eagles. All right. If he plays well against Detroit, look, if I'm Tampa, you can't not look at Baker as a guy you got to keep building around because he had a career year in yards. I think he also had a career high in TDs. If not, it was close. Same thing with completion percentage, QBR and stuff. Like they're like, at least I know for sure yards. He passed for over 4,000. He's never done that in his career. But every other statistic is either like 1, 2, or 3 of all of the best of his career. I mean, he had a career year for him. Like you can't and he wins you a playoff game. Convincingly.
And this is a perfect example on why you take a chance on someone like Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield going to LA last year was the best thing that could have happened to him in his career. He was able to sling the ball the way he wanted to. He was able to make LA relevant for a few weeks, the few weeks that he was there.
Yep.
And they knew they weren't going to keep him. They knew he was going to go elsewhere. But the fact that Tampa Bay said, you know what? We got to take a chance on this guy. Let's take a chance on this guy. Shout out to Tampa Bay for taking a good chance on him. He put up just enough numbers to get them to the playoffs to win that division. And now you've got something to show for it because you've got a playoff victory. And not only do you have a playoff victory, you have a playoff victory against a Philly team who was just in the Super Bowl last season.
Yeah, exactly. Like, look, if I'm Tampa, I understand there was some inconsistency stuff. I get it. I see it. I acknowledge it. But you keep building around them. Give him a chance. Keep building. I mean, he won the Browns a playoff game. build him a statue. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Look, if I'm Tampa, I'm building around Baker. But going up against Detroit, that one's going to be tough. And that was actually, we got another comment. Detroit and Green Bay are both teams I would avoid in the playoffs, but they both have a ton of momentum. Man, let me tell you, Joe. The amount of fear that I have that the Green Bay Packers are going to make the NFC Championship, it's keeping me awake at night right now. I'm not going to be shocked if the NFC Championship is Green Bay going to Detroit.
He left one team out.
Who's that?
The Houston Texans.
Oh, I think he's just talking NFC side strictly.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm about to
But
say,
no,
don't leave out Houston.
You right on the Texans though. That is a team riding an ungodly amount of momentum. They are going to Baltimore, I believe. Yeah, they're going to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Oh man, Baltimore was my Super Bowl winner, but oh buddy, man, Texans look too damn good right now. I mean, C.J. Stroud does not look like a rookie.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. I mean, and that's the thing. And look, let's, he's going to do well. Like I said, he's done well. He's definitely done well this year for a rookie. The sophomore slump comes next year, though, Alex. That's the thing. That second year slump, it does exist. It always exists.
Man, imagine if C.J. Stroud takes the Texans to the Super Bowl. Just imagine. Electric. Electric.
Yeah, I tell you, hey, it could happen. It could happen. You look at this. You look at this. This is the first time the Ravens. Of course, the Ravens were not in the playoffs last year. They had a buku of injuries. You look at the other side. You look at the other side. You look at Kansas City. You look at Buffalo. I mean, can we say inconsistency more just as much as what these two teams have had?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I'm just saying it could happen. I don't think it will because I think they're too young. But I mean, it's just it's one of those things you can't root against them. You can't root against him. The only reason you would root against C.J. Stroud is because he played for Ohio State. That's the only reason you root against him.
Right. Yeah. Also said Baltimore's defense will bring the rookie down to earth, and it will be an away game for him as well. I mean, that is quite possible.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean,
that's fair.
That Baltimore defense is nasty, man. We could see a completely different quarterback from C.J. Stroud this weekend because, I mean, we saw it was crappy weather, but we saw what the Jets defense did to C.J. They even knocked him out of the game. And, like, say what you want about the Jets, but they had, I think they had the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL as well as the 32nd ranked offense. Oh, man, talk about a wild year for the Jets. You know what I mean? Number 1 defense in the NFL, 32nd ranked offense. That's wild. But I mean, we saw how he played against that Jets team. Ooh, not good. So I mean, that's a great point. But then again, also C.J. Stroud could just light him up. You never know. Riding a hot hand right now.
And here's the thing though, Cleveland's defense was right up there with Dallas's this year.
Yeah,
as far
Cleveland
as
was good defense.
They were statistically one of the best defense in the league.
Yeah, they really were. So I mean, he beat one great defense in the playoffs. That was a home game though, so that's a great point. This is an away game, so that's going to be an interesting matchup, man. How you feeling about the Chiefs and the Bills right now? How you leaning on that one? You leaning Bills, or you think the Chiefs are going to kind of completely figure it out?
Yeah, I mean the Bills. I'm surprised the Bills just made the playoffs, but they really got hot because for the longest time, I'm like, yeah, my prediction is going to be correct. They're not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean they were 6-6 at one
right
point.
Time they played great football. They're playing great football. The last few weeks they've played really great football. The Chiefs defense finally woke up the other day. They going up against Miami. I understand it was like negative 5 million degrees up there, but that's the thing though. It's like Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen is basically the new Brady versus Manning.
Mm-hmm.
And in this scenario, in the regular season, it's Josh Allen who wins, but in postseason, it's Patrick Mahomes. It's like,
mm-hmm.
can they overcome that slump? Oh, can they overcome that slump? Because this is what the third, fourth year in a row that they're going to be playing each other, and now it's like, come on, Josh Allen, can you step up and win this game? And so, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that this is a home game for the Bills.
Yeah, home game.
And I'm gonna be honest, they should win this game. The Kansas City Chiefs have not played well on the road this year at all.
No, they have not played well on the road this year. And man, whenever we did our full playoff prediction, I had this game happening. 3-seed KC going to 2-seed Buffalo, and my opinion on it is I feel like Buffalo, with how hot they've been, they started. They were 6-6. And then they managed to get into the playoffs, right? Or something like that. I don't remember what the record. I think it was 6-6. And then they it's just one of those things, man. You get hot at the right time. You get hot in the right time, and you can carry that deep into a playoff run. And that's how I feel about the Buffalo Bills right now, is that they're just getting hot at the right time, and it can finally overcome the demon that is the Chiefs to them. And I know you can say, they beat the Chiefs during the regular season. Yeah, they did. A lot of conversation about that game, obviously. A lot of conversation came after that game. But can they get past the Chiefs in the playoffs when it matters the most? That's been their kryptonite.
And yes, you are right. They were 6-6, and they won their last 5 games, and that 5-game winning streak started on the road at Kansas City.
Yeah. Oh.
So hard to beat a rival twice in a year, though. It's so hard, but we'll have to see what they do.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see what they do.
Speaking of rivals, another game that you can say is a rivalry matchup this weekend would be that San Fran Packers game. Now, granted, I feel like it was more so the Packers led by Aaron Rodgers having a rivalry with the 49ers. You know what I mean? I would still argue that it could be a rivalry, especially after how we see this. It's a new era for both teams, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love. But how do you see this game playing out?
I don't see it as that much of a rivalry or anything like that, but I will say this much. When San Fran beat the Packers, I think that was that 2 years ago? When they started this dynasty run, if you want to call it that, because they've been relevant ever since then. So that's the thing, though. It's like who's going to show up? I mean, if you look at what San Fran's done when they're healthy, it's San Fran, and it's going to be San Fran in a blowout, if you want to put it that way. But I'm just telling, Jordan Love is playing. It's out right now, though, so you can't really count him out. But like I said, on paper, but then again, the Cowboys were supposed to win on paper too. But on paper, San Fran was supposed to win this game. I think San Fran's going to be a little bit more disciplined than what the Cowboys were. I think that week off gave them quite a bit. And here's the thing, Christian McCaffrey, in my opinion, is still the best player in football, especially at running back. He's still the best player in football, in my opinion. So, as long as you have Christian McCaffrey, as long as you have that defense that's healthy, it's going to be tough for the Packers to win this game.
Yeah, it is going to be tough. And if you have Brock Purdy come in and play to the level that we've seen him play and not have where it was like that 3 or 4 game losing streak they were on, but play like how we've seen him play as well and just get the ball to the right places, then this 49er team, man, is dangerous. This 49er team is very, very dangerous. But then again, if Jordan Love comes in and plays the same way, where it's kind of like what you said about how this team's an experimental team. What can we do with this team? That's the thing that's so interesting about, his weapons. He doesn't have a Devontae Adams, you know what I mean? He doesn't have a Jordy Nelson or a Donald Driver, who are like clear number 1, number 2 guys for the team. You know what I mean? He's just got a bunch of dudes that can just go off at any time. One week could be Christian Watson, or it could be Romeo Doubs, like it was this weekend, that he just ran all over you guys. You never know who's going to go off.
Football, Tucker.
Yeah,
and the best tight end in football, Tucker Kraft.
He got some action this weekend. He got a couple TDs.
Shout out. Not this past weekend. No, he just got 2 catches of 15 yards, but it was the best 2 catches of 15 yards you'll ever see in football.
I thought he got TDs this weekend. Oh no, that was Luke Musgrave.
That
was Luke Musgrave.
Luke Musgrave. Musgrave did. Yeah, Musgrave. Yeah.
Shout out to the Beavs. Shout out to the Beavs.
I really hope Tucker Kraft does have a lot of success. But yeah, you're right. You're right on that. But that's the thing, though. It's like, Alex, the Packers are in a situation they have nothing to lose. Yeah. Absolutely nothing to lose here.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
barely got in.
A team that has nothing to lose. When you play a team that has nothing to lose, they become even more dangerous. They become even more dangerous. But I'm like you, man. I've got that feeling. Green Bay's going to do it. I got a feeling they're going to do it. And I hate it because I hate the Green Bay Packers minus Tucker Kraft. I love Tucker Kraft. Jerry, please go get Tucker Kraft. But anyway, but it's like I have that feeling. I have that feeling they're going to find a way to do it.
I do too, and it scares the shit out of me, man. Like, I really don't want. Oh God, it just makes me so damn mad as a Bears fan that 3 times in a row it looks like Green Bay has nailed it on a franchise quarterback, and I'm just like, hey guys, can we get a QB to pass over 4,000 yards for the first time in franchise history? Like, come on.
That's
man.
what you get for getting Mitchell Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes.
I'm still pissed off about that. I'm like,
I would be too.
I never, like, Trubisky was so overrated coming out, man. So a couple comments to catch up on. We're talking about KC and Buffalo. Something always happens to Allen and KC. He will never get over this hump. That's totally possible. KC could be Josh Allen's kryptonite in the playoffs permanently. We'll see. He could shake it this weekend. I think it helps a lot that it's in Buffalo. You know what I mean? I think that's the one thing that could potentially help a lot. Purdy in the playoffs would prove a lot to Jordan Love. Showed the lights were not too bright.
Okay.
Jordan Love, man, played unbelievable. He played unbelievable, and Brock Purdy in the playoffs would prove a lot. I mean, hey, if the Brock can show up that we've seen play as well as he has, I'm telling you, this 49er team is going to be dangerous. I mean, they're the number 1 seed for a reason. You know what I mean? Especially if Christian McCaffrey, who's managed to stay healthy all year long. I mean, this is a dangerous squad.
Yeah, and of course, one of the things with Brock Purdy is that, and I know this is unfair, but you hear it all the time. He's got a slew of veterans that are around him that are guiding him, and I know that's not fair. But to a larger extent, you could plug any quarterback on that football team, and they'd be a very good football team. And I think that's one thing Brock will eventually have to challenge himself with moving forward, is if they do end up, like if he does end up going elsewhere besides staying in San Fran, because you and I both know when it's time for his contract to come up, they're not going to be able to pay him and McCaffrey. There's no way they're going to be able to pay him and McCaffrey, and that's if McCaffrey continues to play. He may retire before then, but he's not slowing down anytime soon. So I don't see why he would. But I'm saying, like, in the long run, to me, Brock Purdy is not going to be able to get that type of credit unless he just goes to some crappy team and does the same exact thing that he's doing with San Francisco.
I mean, you could say that for different QBs though.
No, you couldn't. Name one quarterback. Name one backup quarterback or a Mr. Irrelevant that went to a team that was drafted by a team that was surrounded by veterans and has had the success that Brock Purdy's had.
Well, maybe not a Mr. Irrelevant, but I mean, you could point out different QBs.
No, I'm talking about in general. I'm talking about in general. Name a backup or a third string quarterback that worked his way up and was able to show the success that had the same talent that San Fran has. You can't name one because there's not one. It's just, it doesn't happen. And so, I'm not taking a shot at Brock Purdy, but what I'm saying is that you could plug any quarterback in San Fran and they do the same exact thing that what he's doing right now.
That is a constant thing that people like to throw out there.
And I get it. It's really not fair to the guy. I get it, but I'm telling you in general, it's the truth.
Well, it's also a thing with Brock Purdy is that, when we've talked about him earlier this season when he was having like MVP level numbers, I mean, while the team is built phenomenally and it's a great system, very QB friendly, sure, at the end of the day, the quarterback's still got to make the right reads. He's still got to make the right calls, and that's what Brock's doing. Brock's making the right call. He's putting the ball where it needs to get put. I mean, you couldn't put necessarily any quarterback in there, because not every quarterback's going to be able to put the ball where it needs to get put.
I disagree.
I mean, while the system helps, sure.
Besides Trey Lance, you can put just about any quarterback behind that center on that football team, and they do very, very well.
Is it more of the system or the quarterback? I got to lean system, but I don't think it's
system.
Look, I'm going to argue that it's not a huge split. I really don't think it is. I genuinely don't.
You're probably right. That's fair.
I don't think it's like oh my God, 90% system, 10% QB. I disagree heavily on that. Like, I really do firmly believe it's it's like a 60-40.
I'm not saying, even though he was considered Mr. Irrelevant, I'm not saying he's not relevant. What I'm saying is that you could plug in a lot of good quarterbacks and they would do the same exact thing. And you are right. He still has to make those reads. He still has to make those throws. He still has to do what any other quarterback in the league has done. And I know that's not fair, but to a larger extent, he is surrounded by probably the most talent that anybody has right now in football. And I would say he's surrounded by more talent than even what KC has.
Well, I mean, I would actually heavily agree on that. KC took some blows, these past couple of years, like losing Tyreek and stuff like that. I would highly agree with you on that. KC's got a great, talented roster, sure, but I mean, KC, in my opinion, is lucky to hit top 5 in terms of talent. Like, they're going to be top 10, but they'd be lucky to hit top 5, in my opinion, in terms of talent.
And Hey, but here's something else. And until somebody exposes Brock Purdy, you keep everything the same in San Fran.
And hey, when it comes to the contract thing, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, my friend, if the 49ers make it deep into this playoffs, and especially if they go to a Super Bowl, they win a Super Bowl, we're gonna find out this offseason how much they can afford both because he's getting a contract extension. I promise you.
Hey, look what Tom Brady did in his young career.
Yeah. I think right now Brock would just love a pretty decent contract so he can like, maybe go buy a house and not live in an apartment with another teammate where he's got a roommate. It's Mr. Relevant money.
Dude, do you realize how much taxes they're taking out of
I
his
know.
check there
It's
in San
brutal.
Fran?
It's brutal.
I don't see why anybody lives in California. I just don't. I don't think it's that great.
I thought the same thing, and one of my stores, one of the members of leadership that I had to deal with, he was actually from, Cali, and he was from the Bay Area, you know what I mean? He moved here for, job opportunities, whatever. And, he just talked about how much California sucked and how much it cost. It was so expensive. Then the dude turns around and goes back. And I'm just like, why? His reasoning is like, there's more stuff to do. I'm like, now, that's totally fair. Totally fair. But I don't know.
I'll tell you about my trip to California one of these days.
Yeah, please do. Please do. The one thing though, and I've said this before, I just want to say it again, that just really makes me mad about Brock Purdy though, is it just pisses me off so much that the San Francisco 49ers could do that stupid trade to get Trey Lance and it backfire and they're still fine. Because that would never happen to Chicago. That just would not happen. And that makes me so violently angry that it happened to the 49ers.
It's like Chicago could trade a fullback, and that fullback would do better elsewhere.
I mean, dude, it's just so stupid.
Or some other irrelevant position.
Yeah, dude, it's just it's so stupid. Oh God. But hopefully this weekend for playoffs are going to be a lot better than this past weekend.
Much better.
Because man, this past weekend a lot of duds. You had one good game, and that was the Rams and the Lions. And after that, just duds. That Rams and Lions game was damn good too. That was a damn good game. I was having fun with that one.
Yeah, but I think I'm looking more forward to this weekend than I was last weekend. I'm so looking forward to this weekend. It's going to be a good weekend of football.
Yeah, I agree. Switching gears real quick, what'd you think about Kalen DeBoer becoming the Alabama head coach?
I don't like the fit. I don't like it one bit. I don't, and I'm not going to say that he's not going to be successful. I'm not going to dash his success or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't think, and here, to me, it was not much of an Alabama move. Do you know how many years that he's had as a head coach in a Power 5 school?
What, 3? No. Yeah, 3.
2.
No, 3.
2. He was only at Washington for 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
He was at Fresno State.
Yeah, I brain farted on Fresno. For some reason, I thought Fresno was Power 5 for some dumb reason.
No, I don't. No. Fresno was definitely not a Power 5 school.
I think more so where I brain farted is I completely ignored the words Power 5, and I think I just thought FBS because he was also 5-6 years as head coach as his alma mater. So complete brain
Fresno
fart.
State. Yeah. He was only at Fresno State for 2 or 3
years. No. I'm talking before that. I'm talking before that. He was a head coach.
Yeah, he was Sioux Falls.
Yeah, Sioux Falls. Yeah, that was his that's his alma mater.
Yep, NAIA school. So, I mean, like I say, he's got the experience as a head coach. He went through the Power 5 ranks, as an offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach. He went through all that stuff. The thing is, though, is I have not seen him be at a school long enough where his recruiting matters the most. As far as going to Washington, Penix did transfer his first. I think it was his first year there when Michael Penix went over there. But as far as being steady goes, that's the thing that Alabama has more or so looked for, especially in recent history. Of course, you had Nick Saban. Can't remember who their coach was before Nick Saban. But all I know is that Nick Saban, he was established at LSU. He didn't do so well in the NFL, but he did all right at Michigan State. So he had that kind of experience that was brought up. And then, of course, he won a national title before coming to Alabama. And DeBoer has not done that. And so I know you can You can check and balances. You can put all the ways and everything like that. And I understand that he's had instant success everywhere he's gone. I just don't think it's the right fit for Alabama, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, he has been a winner everywhere that he's gone. You could, he has. I mean, shout out to him
He
getting,
just doesn't stay long.
getting the chance to coach his alma mater, and win like I think 3 national championships at his alma mater, and then just like, hey, I did my thing. I went to school here. I love this school. I coached it. I won championships, but I want to go on to bigger things. Can't fault him for that. Goes on to bigger things. Goes on to be QB coach like Indiana. Gets his first shot at Fresno. Let's also establish something that's really interesting about his head coaching years. I can't blame him for leaving. Every time he's left has been based on circumstance. Because let's think back. Him going from Fresno for 1 year to Washington, that was because of what happened with the Washington head coach. That wasn't because I think it was the head coach for Washington was, I think actually the Hawaii head coach, if I remember correctly. I can't remember the guy's name. Or it was either the Hawaii head coach or the Boise State head coach. One of the two goes on to Washington.
Chris Peterson?
No, not Chris Peterson. There was the one after Chris Peterson.
I know who you're talking about. I have to look him up.
But anyway, so it was a matter of circumstance because I think it was during the COVID year where this head coach of Washington couldn't comply with what NCAA and Pac-12 was trying to lay out, and he just ultimately he had to get let go. There was no choice about it. So that opened up a fortunate door for Kalen DeBoer. It's like, I mean, it's open, sure. And it's the same thing with Bama. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that if Nick Saban would not have retired, he would not leave Washington for years to come. But it's just like if Alabama calls you, you're answering the call. You know what I mean? And you're gonna go at least to listen to them. I mean, it's another step up. I can't blame the guy for wanting to step up. Now, it being the right fit, it's going to be a we'll see. I'm not going to say it's going to be the wrong fit because you're totally right. We have yet to see his recruiting. You know what I mean? But we just haven't. Maybe you could argue for his alma mater. Sure, that's a very much lower level of college play. Yeah, but he was there at least 5 seasons, won I think 2 or 3 national championships. So maybe an argument could be made there. But at a FBS level where it matters, right? I shouldn't say that. All levels of college matter, but you know what I mean. Calm down, relax. I understand that we haven't got a chance to see the fruits of his recruiting. So that's going to be the big thing about, Alabama. But then again, we're also in a transfer portal era. So really, who gives a shit? It's Alabama. Players are going to want to go there for the most part. We're seeing Alabama players transfer out because Nick Saban's gone.
Yep. And that's the big thing. And now you've got your, the starting quarterback who was Jalen Milroe committed to coming back. And then when Saban retired, he's like, I'm going elsewhere. I'm putting myself in the transfer portal.
Wait, Jalen is in the transfer portal?
Yes.
I did not see that one.
Yeah, Jalen Milroe put himself. I'm pretty sure he did.
Let me look. I did not see that one. That's wild. Let's see.
Yep, he has. Let's see here. Oh, it might have been fake.
Okay, yeah, I don't think he's. I think he's still going to be a Bama.
So
dude,
we'll see.
USA Today files Jalen Milroe transfer report based on a fake X account. So USA Today got fucking trolled by a fake Twitter account.
That's
man.
awesome.
That is
awesome.
Great. All right, so he's got Jalen Milroe, so that's good. Jalen Milroe really turned it on at the end of the year. But no, you're right, man. See, I mean, we'll have to see the fruits of his recruiting, and he's going to have to use this year to really prove himself, in the SEC and prove that he's a great head coach. Because once he does that, if he's able to do that in one single season, then recruits are going to come because it's Alabama. It's up to Kalen DeBoer to maintain the standard that Nick Saban left. If he's able to at least maintain it to some degree, recruits are still going to come. I mean, it's Alabama at the end of the day. Now, I totally get recruits wanting to transfer out, though, right now. You know what I mean? I get that. You're going to play for Nick Saban. You're not going to play for Alabama. But,
yep.
I mean, the one thing that I thought was really interesting, and it goes to show Like, everyone knows that Nick Saban is one of the best head coaches in college football history, right? If not the best in some people's eyes, okay? But it really goes to show how much of a legacy this man has, where coaches that are around the NCAA are being interviewed for the job, and to announce that they're not leaving their school, the school puts up a hype video that their coach is not leaving. You know what I mean? Like, that to me, that says a lot about the Alabama job. You know, I saw a hype video on Dan Lanning. I saw the hype video on Steve Sarkisian. I mean, like, you know, they're putting out these videos to just say, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I mean, like that's how big of a deal the Saban retiring in this Alabama job is, in my opinion. It really just kind of shows it in a different perspective.
And I thought Dabo Swinney, because for years they were like, yeah, Dabo Swinney's probably going to replace Nick Saban, and he's not gone anywhere, which I'm not going to say I don't blame him, because I do blame him, because he's at Clemson, and they don't look very good right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I don't even think he got interviewed.
He may not have.
Let's see.
They might have made the phone call. Nope, click.
Okay, so I was wrong on the whole Washington thing. The guy that I was thinking of that had to forcibly step down, he was the Washington State head coach. My bad. I just fact checked it. He was the Hawaii head coach. He was the Hawaii head coach from 2016, 2019, and then at Washington State, and everything happened with Washington State. So anyway, but point still stands that Kalen DeBoer's coaching career has been a matter of circumstances, in my opinion. Just right place, right time. Shout out to that. Hey, did you see that Malachi Nelson picked his transfer destination?
I did not. Where's it going?
Boise State.
Why?
I thought the same thing. That is interesting.
God. I'm going to Wyoming. I'm going to the University of Wyoming.
Relax. You're going to get Tyler pretty excited.
I mean, Tyler gets excited with Penn State versus Temple, and it never happens.
I know. Oh, he's a funny dude. He's a funny dude. So yeah, Boise State, man, that's where he's going. I thought that was an interesting one.
Woohoo!
Yeah, maybe he can make Boise State good again. Who knows? It's almost kind of the same thing of like, why would Kyle McCord go to Syracuse? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, when you think about it, though, in some ways, it's like Ohio State. It's Ohio State.
Yeah.
Syracuse, there's not near the pressure in Syracuse what there's Ohio State. Ohio State, you got to deal with the pressure from the alumni, the board of directors, the politics, all that whole crap over there in Ohio State. And Syracuse, they have no expectations for football.
No, all theirs is basketball. Even their basketball team has apparently sucked. Just here recently.
Yeah. Recently, yeah.
That's the verdict I got from Tyler, because he loves the orange. Apparently, he loves all these. Dude. His teams are all over the place.
Well, when Boeheim was coaching them, they were relevant, but
yeah.
It's been a while since they've actually been really good, though.
Yeah.
And Boeheim wouldn't get out of that 2-3 zone.
I will say some other breaking news that I saw come out of the college world. I mean, it's been the news that everyone's been waiting for. It's been the news that everyone has been unsure if he was going to, declare or not. But we got the news that Caleb Williams declared the NFL. That's huge breaking news. You know what I mean? Everyone's been waiting for that. No one was sure. You know what I mean? Everyone was on the edge of their seat. No one knew if he was going to go out or not. So got that breaking news. That lit the internet up on fire.
Listen, as long as Chicago does not do something stupid by picking him up, number 1 pick, it will be just fine.
We are.
Y'all better. I'm telling you, man.
I'm embracing
if y'all don't get Marvin Harrison,
I'm embracing it. I'm just gonna go ahead and prepare myself now. It's happening. Caleb Williams will be the next quarterback of the Chicago Bears. It is what it is. We'll see how it goes.
And y'all will once again hold out on another great player who's going to be, in my opinion, just as good as Jerry Rice. I'm telling y'all, the kid is that talented.
Yep, and we're going to get another quarterback who's going to be insanely talented, and we are going to ruin that quarterback, just like we did with Justin Fields.
He is not insanely talented. He's not even close to insanely talented.
Caleb?
Athletic, I'll give you that much. Athletic, I'll give you that much. Insanely talented, he's not even close.
What, Caleb?
Yes.
I would say he's a very insanely talented. He's just he's a raw talent though.
No.
I don't think
no.
he's the surefire thing. And see, the thing is about Caleb Williams is like everyone keeps saying that he could be the next Patrick Mahomes, but like everyone is acting like he's going to come in year one and be Patrick Mahomes. Like that's what blows me away. You know what I mean? Like, could he be the next Patrick Mahomes? Yeah, sure. Patrick Mahomes was a raw talent in college. He was a raw, explosive, flashy talent. Caleb Williams has had that flash every once in a while, sure. Like, I see the comparisons. I get it. But like everyone's acting like Caleb's about to come in year one and be Patrick Mahomes. It's like that's not going to happen. But okay.
No, it's not going to happen. He's going to be a bust. He'll be out of the NFL in 5 years.
5 years, man. We'll see.
Or less.
He's going to be the Bears quarterback too.
I'm sorry.
No, the
you're
one
still
thing
going to be losing, and you're still going to be losing to Green Bay.
I know. The one thing that I saw when it comes to the whole Chicago Caleb Williams thing is like Caleb. You know, when the Bears have a sit down with Caleb Williams to do interviews and all that BS, right? One thing they need to ask him is that, like, you know, hey, you know, you'd be drafted by a team who the entire team has publicly come out and said, we want Fields. Like, Fields is our guy. Just keep building around him. Give him an offensive line that will help him stand up. Give him another weapon like Marvin Harrison Jr., you know. Keep building. We have a quarterback who is talented. We just need more pieces on the offense, better play calling and everything, right? You have a quarterback who the entire city is chanting, we want Fields. We want Fields in his last home game. Can you come into this locker room? Can you come into the city and win them over? And what was said is that if there is even the slightest bit of hesitation in him, Bears need to pass. And I'm just like, I actually couldn't agree more. I mean, that's a losing situation to come into unless you were dead ass confident that you can win the locker room over and you can win the city over. Like let's be honest, that's a losing situation.
It's very rare that you get a losing quarterback like Justin Fields, who has all the potential in the entire world. It's very rare when you have an entire city that's basically slapping the ownership and the GM and everybody in the face and saying, we want Fields. Don't draft Caleb Williams. That's all you got to do. That's all you have to do. Let Washington have him. Yeah, I don't care.
It is wild. It really is. Because his, like, I can't pin his starting record on Justin. I just can't. I mean, last year was a literal wash. It was a complete reset. You know, he would like him coming into this year. If he's still a Bear, he'd be on his 4th OC. You know what I mean? I can't blame him. But even with all that, the kid has so much talent. You know what I mean? He has so much potential.
They win 3-4 games last year and 7 this year?
3 games last year, 7 this year.
So hey, if he improves by 4 more, that's 11 games that you win next year. That's a playoff record.
And see,
they're in the playoffs.
No,
if they win 11
and here's
games.
the other thing too. We should be in the playoffs. There are 3 games that we played we should not have lost.
True.
So I mean, that's what's wild to think about.
Yeah, I just like I said, I think if you get Marvin Harrison Jr. and you get an offensive tackle, don't care who it is, you're going to be set. You're going to be set for at least the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and then draft a center in the 2nd round too. Some good centers coming out this draft. The guy, the one from Oregon.
Yeah, got some good ones.
The guy from Oregon, I can't remember his name. I want to say Powers Johnson because it's such a great name. I think that was his name.
That's
the center
Powers,
from
like Screech Powers.
Hold on, let me look. Let's see, NFL draft prospects, and then there's also the center from Georgia as well that I had my eye on too that I thought looked pretty solid. Let's see, ESPN hooked me up here. Center Jackson Powers Johnson. That's a name. Graham Barton from Duke as well. Then you had Cedric Van Pran from Georgia, and then Zach Frazier from West Virginia. I would take any of these 4, preferably Jackson Powers Johnson, because that's a great name. That's a great name, man. I love that name. That name is legendary. So that's my personal preference. But I just hope we get Marvin Harrison Jr. I just hope we get Marvin Harrison Jr., man. Please, God, that's all I'm asking for right now.
You need to type up an email to the owner if it's publicized, whoever you can in the Chicago Bears, and I'll even type one with you, man. I'm not even a Bears fan, but I swear if you get Caleb Williams,
I'm gonna feel. Draft day is gonna be an interesting day for me, baby. Right here on ATFS Live.
you're gonna be sweating before we even go on because you know you have the number 1 pick.
I know, and we also have the 9th pick too. Like I'm gonna have a busy Thursday night when we do this show.
It's gonna be a great day. And as soon if they announce Caleb Williams, I expect you to go on a rant for the rest of the night. These stupid, dumb sons of beep beep.
Look, like I said, I'm already embracing it. I know what's coming. It is what it is.
What you have to edit all the cussing out with beeps and stuff because you're gonna be cussing.
I'll put a censor button on the on my soundboard, and I'll just make sure to press it nonstop as I'm just talking, just to cover my bases. Just to cover my bases. All right,
son of a beep.
Let's see, Ricky, you got anything else that you want to chat about? Anything from the week?
I mean, no, just shout out to Jason Kelsey. It looks like he's going to retire.
Yeah.
Shout out to that. Yeah, I think he's
done. It's done.
I can't remember. Yeah, I hate it for him too because he really wanted a Super Bowl badly, but his team just sucks.
At least he got one. At least he got one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just real quick, any thoughts on Derrick Henry's landing spot?
I don't know.
Dallas.
Could be Dallas. I mean, I would embrace if we brought Derrick Henry next year. I think I would be able to have this sigh of relief because we would have it nearly in every down back. Because like I said, even though he's seen a little bit of decline, but not that much of a decline for me to go, well, let's stay away. No, I could see Dallas being a spot. I know that he almost got traded. There was an article that came out that he almost got traded.
Yep.
He didn't know which teams it were. It wouldn't surprise me if Kansas City tries to grab him. I just don't know if Kansas City can afford him.
Chicago.
I think he's going to go somewhere. No, not Chicago.
Come on.
I think he's going to go somewhere where he could contend for a title.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't get me wrong. Chicago, for my opinion, would be a decent fit for him because he would be the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he would be the guy that leaned on, and that would be a guy that even though he's not a quarterback, it would be a guy that Justin Fields could lean on, for veteran advice, things like that. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's going to be a contender, though. I don't think he's going to go anywhere for a buku of money. I think he's going to mostly go for a contendership.
Houston, Tampa.
Could be. Could be.
Miami.
No, he's not going to Miami.
Come on now.
No, he's not going to Miami. Miami doesn't even want to be in Miami.
Wow, whoa. Relax there, buddy. Joe said
Just
the first
saying.
pick would be the domino effect as to where Marvin Harrison Jr. goes. It would be, because if the Bears pass on him, I mean, Washington's not getting him. I mean, Marvin's not making it past the 3rd pick, though. I mean, he's not making it past Arizona. It's just not going to happen.
No.
Honestly, the most ideal scenario for me is rob Washington blind and convince them to trade up 1 pick, just like the Bears did, just like San Fran fleeced Chicago. So Washington can get Caleb Williams. He grew up a Washington fan, bless his soul. He's from the D.C. area. Let Washington get their guy. Let the Bears have the 2nd pick and draft Marvin Harrison Jr. and let him be the next great receiver to go number 2 overall, like Calvin Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald. There you go.
But that's the thing, though. Like, what would Washington be willing to give, though, for that? That's if they're willing to give up, some key pieces that would help Chicago, then yeah, I would do it. But I don't see them giving up that many pieces.
It depends on how desperate they are. Let's be honest. Let's be very, very honest. 'Cause, I mean, look how much Carolina gave up, and because they were desperate for that number 1 pick. So and look how much Chicago gave up just to go up 1 pick.
That is true, but Sam Howell wasn't that bad of a quarterback. But
New
Like
ownership.
you said, Caleb Williams is their guy.
Yeah.
Let them have him.
New ownership. So look, hey, Washington wants to call, especially if their new GM is, I think his name's Ian Cunningham. He's the assistant GM in Chicago. If he gets hired as the new GM in Washington, yo, Ian, give Ryan a call. He'll do business with you. But see that I feel like that'd be the worst case scenario because I feel like Ian would not get fleeced by Ryan. You know what I mean? He worked under him. Like I don't see him like Ryan fleeced the shit out of Carolina like up front. I don't see him getting fleeced. It'd be Ian Cunningham as the GM in Washington. But anyway, let's see. Next final comment here before we wrap up the show. Washington can pick May and surprise everyone. That would be, hey, Bears did it, man. Bears did it with Mitchell Trubisky. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. All right, Ricky, let's hit our divisional round picks and we'll make our way out of here, okay?
All right, let's do it.
All right, Houston at Baltimore. How are we feeling on this one? I'm still going to rock with Baltimore. Mark Andrews, I think, is set to play this weekend.
Yeah, I'll go with Baltimore.
Green Bay and San
Close
Fran.
game. But
I agree. Close game. Green Bay, San Fran. Oh God, please, man, give me the Niners winning, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Niners, but I'm also on that same edge as you are, man. I got this feeling Green Bay's gonna go all the way. I got the feeling
I'm so
that
scared.
they're gonna go all the way.
I'm so scared. Oh God, Tampa, Detroit. Give me Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit should win this one.
And then lastly, KC, Buffalo. Give me Buffalo. I'm taking all the home teams this weekend. No upsets on the road.
I'm taking KC on this one. I
Oh,
just think
okay.
it's Josh Allen's kryptonite.
Okay, all right. I respect that.
Watch us all be wrong. Watch
Oh.
us all be wrong.
Oh man, I know.
It's gonna be
Alright.
Green Bay and freaking some Timbuktu. It's gonna be Green Bay and Houston, and that one heck of a freaking Super Bowl right there. Green
Dude,
Bay
it
and
really
Houston.
would be, and it really would be because CJ and Jordan, they both had the exact same stats after the wild card, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's wild. That's insane. Well, anyway, we're gonna wrap up the show. Ricky, you got anything else that you want to say to the audience before I hit the music?
Dallas Cowboys.
I'm so sorry, man. I feel you. I want you to know
Yeah.
after you text me about that, my guy Brady texted me about that too, and he's just like, I don't know how I've stayed a fan of this team for so damn long.
I don't either, man. It's so bad. It's so bad.
You two are in the same. How do you think I feel, man? I told Brady, I was like, yo, dude, you preaching to the choir right now. I mean, how do you think I feel? Oh, Jesus. All right, we're hitting music. So we'll be back next week, still on Wednesday. So make sure to stop by, say hello. Ricky, hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, my friend.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a wonderful the rest of the week as well.
Happy football. All right. If you made it all the way to the end, we appreciate the absolute hell out of you. Make sure to subscribe, follow whatever platform you're watching or listening on allows to do. Make sure to also check out our website, sparky3.com. You can sign up for free. Sign up $5 a month. And we'd appreciate that extra support, as well as join the Discord. And you can come chat with us on a show. We'll pull you up as a guest caller. We'll have a little conversation. It'll be great. Rogue Energy, pick up a jersey because we got sick jerseys. Rogue Energy, hit the Sparky 3 shop over there, as well as go over to Agent Inc. for the jersey. My bad. But then also go to Rogue Energy and pick up some Rogue because it's delicious and I can't recommend it enough. I drink it every day and it's amazing. Till next time, guys, have a good weekend. Bye.